I figured now is the time. We haven't talked a lot of March Madness, honestly, even though it's been going on. We touched on it here and there, but we have two champions now that we've crowned. Florida took the men's championship, and my UConn Huskies, that I had to wear the gear today, they took the women's. Paige finally got hers. I want to know your reaction to March Madness. Throw 30 seconds up there and tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I just realized we do not have the time. Well, we could do it this way. It's going to look a little rough. No, I don't have it. Never mind. We do not have the timer for this episode, and I did not realize it until right this very second. So, Eric, I am going to trust your gut to time me for a second and not be an asshole about it. And then I'll
Just
time you.
just do your thing. I trust you.
Okay. Okay. Um, I was going to start it by nodding off and falling asleep because it was the most boring March Madness I've watched in recent memory.
Okay.
Congrats to you, E, as a not a closeted, but a distant UConn fan, a solid UConn fan for winning a game or winning the championship. And overall, it's just whatever to me. I haven't been able to get into college hoops for a while, especially with the funnel that it takes to make the NBA or the WNBA being so narrow and quick. What about you, man?
Yeah, well, let me first say that I didn't time you at all, so no idea. I think it was good. But yeah, I watched both. The men's, the flow was terrible, and that's because of how Houston plays. And Florida actually, to their credit, they kind of played a similar game, that defensive style. So they were doing this the whole time, and it didn't really make for good watching. I mean, they couldn't even hit a shot. It was terrible. But congrats to Florida. I was bummed. I was rooting hard for Houston, and terrible way to end the game. But how about them Huskies, man? Paige Beckers, the big three getting it done. I was so happy for her, first of all, but 12 national championships for the women. I saw a stat that I could not believe, and that is since 1999, UConn men and women's I have the men's championships on right now. Men and women since 1999, they've won 33% of the national championships. I mean, just think about that. That's beyond dynasty. That's just incredible.
Oh, it is for sure. UConn's basketball program is super historical, super historied. You know what word I'm trying to put in there. Um, I don't know, man. College basketball, I like March Madness when it gets all wild and we end up liking a random team from a random city that we've never heard of. We didn't have much, if at all, of that this year. And to
All one
me,
seeds.
it was all, I mean, yeah, it was all one seeds. At least there was 1-2 seed UConn in the women's, and they ended up winning the whole thing. Uh, it was okay. I watched a little bit here and there. I watched some at the office as I do on the side while I'm doing my work. Sports is sports, but it's just not, it wasn't my cup of tea this year. It wasn't everything that it normally cracks up to be for me as a guy who really leans in and likes the idea of the word madness in his March Madness.
No, that's fair. And on another note, as much as I enjoy, I watch quite a bit of women's college basketball. Watch a little bit of the W. The Caitlin Clark effect, though, viewership. It's the third largest viewership for a women's final, and yet they were down like 10 million viewers, and that says everything you need to know about what Caitlin Clark did last. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll use myself as a case study there. I watched way more women's basketball in general last year in terms of March Madness, the college sports, all of that. Um, Last year with Caitlin Clark than I did this year. Hopefully my fandom still translates to the W as it did last year, and I think it will, just because I'm a fan of many of the athletes over there and many of the different additions, especially with Cleveland getting a team, man, starting to pay attention and knowing what's up so I can talk about it at a more relatively familiar clip come 2028. You never know, right?
I'm so excited. And by the way, speaking of, so Paige will be drafted number 1 overall. It's all bet, it's pretty much a conclusion at this point, which means she'll go to Dallas. Dallas and the Indiana Fever, where Caitlin Clark is, they play, and they have already moved it to the arena. I guess probably the Mavericks arena down there in Dallas, because they're expecting just unbelievable amounts of people, which they're going to get, obviously.
100%. I'm excited. We've multiple times since Caitlin Clark went to Indiana. Me and my girlfriend have mentioned and talked about going to a game just to get the energy, get the feel. I've never been to a WNBA game, and it's definitely on the bucket list of things to get going on and get to, this year.
I would say I would join you. Like, Indiana Fever game would be perfect because it's not that far away. I don't know if we can get tickets to a Fever game. I think we might have to pick something else, maybe Chicago, because they're tough to get.
Yeah, they are. Not sponsored, at least not yet, but Game Time is your friend. I use that app for everything in terms of my ticketing needs, and not because of all the ad placement all over the place. Those prices are actually fantastic over there.
Fair shout. Well, if you guys end up going, let me know because I might have to tag along and
For sure.
third wheel that one.